How do I send money to Brazil for a down payment when buying real estate property in Brazil? Hello there, my name is Luciano Oliveira. I am a Brazilian attorney. I would suggest that you watch this video until the end to learn some of the currency exchange specializing banks in Brazil who are better positioned to help you move monies into the country legally and at a competitive rate. Something for you to also consider if you're buying a property of a smaller amount. If you need to send, for instance, a down payment of up to $10,000, it may be the case that you could use something like Wisewise, which was previously known as TransferWise. It's a website that's going to help you send money to Brazil. Their rates are quite competitive, and for up to $10,000, they do not ask you for that many documents. So if you are in a hurry to send money to Brazil as a down payment for a property that you're buying, Wise may be an option. Of course, I'm going to assume you being advised by an attorney who knows how money sent to Brazil should be declared and how to properly make sure that your monies are safely delivered to the seller. Now, let's assume that you need to send more than 50,000 reais roughly or $10,000 to the seller. In this case, you're going to need to choose one of two options. You're going to either send the money directly to the seller's bank account, or you're going to hire a currency exchange bank to assist you with the transfer. When you're sending a down payment, there is still most of the payment to be sent by closing. So we actually don't mind that you send the money directly to the seller because, again, most of the money are going to be paid at closing. This is important because for the closing, for the final payment, we usually do not like our clients to send the money directly to the seller. And the reason for that is because you cannot control the time of release of the money. So the situation is a little bit like this. You send the money and the seller is going to receive the money, and only then the seller is going to sign the transfer deed. And if there is a time gap between the seller receiving the money and the actual day of the closing, during this timeline, you're going to be incurring serious risks because if something happens to the seller in the meantime, guess what? You're not going to have a closing and you're going to need to start a lawsuit in order to have the ownership transferred from the seller to you. Another recommendation is for you to have a good timeline for the seller to receive the down payment. Many contracts in Brazil, many purchase agreements, they are going to say that the buyer is actually paying on the day of signature. If you're going to have this language, you're not going to have any wiggle room if you are unable, for instance, to send the money by Wise and you need to send it by a currency exchange bank. Of course, one day is not going to be enough. So you got to change the purchase agreement to give you a reasonable timeline to find the best way of sending the down payment money to the seller. In our contracts, we usually have something between 5 to 10 days, which is more than enough for you to send the money and the seller receive the down payment on time as per the purchase agreement. So for the list of currency exchange banks, check our description below and you're going to have a link for the Brazil Central Bank where they keep an up-to-date list of all the banks that are authorized to make currency exchange transactions in Brazil. Notice that in addition to the currency exchange specializing banks, there are many commercial banks or everyday banks. The everyday banks, in our opinion, they are not ideal because they do everything and they do not offer the best rates possible. However, if you pay attention to the bancos de câmbio, which means banks specializing in currency exchange, these are the banks who are going to be offering the best rates possible because that's their only business, and therefore to be competitive they need to offer the best rates possible. I hope this information was helpful. If it was, I will ask you to please like our video and follow us for more tips.